Hi, this is Laura Lucarelli with Taking Initiative, and I'm here with my co-host that everyone needs to know. I would love it if she would introduce herself.
My name is Patricia Ann Blackmon.
And Pat, I want you to tell the audience why you accepted to become my co-host.
Well, I just have been so involved in how do we change the narrative and get people involved in voting and having such respect for our democracy. I can't tell you, growing up in Mississippi and having this whole issue be a struggle for African Americans. And it just tears my heart apart to know that there are people who do not want to vote when we fought so hard to get that right. I wanted to be involved. And I was so lucky the day that I met you because all of a sudden we started talking, and before you know it, we're on a podcast.
I feel like the lucky one. Every time I hear you talk, I learn something. And I'm
Oh,
gonna rewind a little bit. I want you to tell us about growing up in Jackson, Mississippi. What was that like? How did that form who you are and how you feel about justice?
oh my goodness. It's so much. When I was growing up in Jackson, I did not know the difficulties. I could kind of see it, but it didn't stay with me. And then I turned 13, and that's when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And my whole world changed. And I'll never forget going to a family reunion and talking to my grandfather. And I told him, I didn't even know I was going to say this, but it just popped out. I said, I'm going to become a lawyer and I'm going to law school. And I can't wait to have an impact on the system of justice in this country. Because we, as African Americans in Mississippi, in 1963, we were fighting just to be in the room alive because we were denied so many privileges and so many rights.
You've told me what a huge impact your grandfather had on you. Tell me about some of his philosophy, why you would even go to him and say that.
Well, my grandfather believed very strongly in making a difference in your community and also building a world for his family. My grandfather was amazing. He was from Oxford, Mississippi. He was born into poverty, and pretty soon he started doing things that were amazing. Like he would build a school for the kids in their neighborhood, and he taught eighth graders. And then he stopped teaching and he started building houses. He also had a farm and he raised cotton. I mean, he was just amazing. And then, as he got older, he would walk to, I think they call it the public square in Oxford, and he would sit there and have conversations about politics and where we were going in this world. And he just influenced me. Whenever we would go to Oxford to visit him, my cousin would drive us to the public square to see where Papa was. And you could just see him there having conversations, and everybody is listening without moving, just not moving at all.
Talk to me about how you made it from Mississippi up to Ohio, and for those people that don't know, Pat was the very first African American woman to hold a position as an appellate judge in Ohio, correct?
That's correct. And so we always have to be correct about that because there were African American males who were judges on the 8th District Court of Appeals, and one was Charles White, and he became the first. And so it's that clarity, and also knowing that at the time that I ran for judge, Sarah Harper was also running. And the only reason I get the bragging rights of saying I was the first is because I was sworn in the day before she was. And so she didn't get the privilege of saying she was the first, but it was the two of us, and we made history. and I'm very proud of that. So what got me here? I want to say in a comical way, a Greyhound bus. And they're getting ready to take down that Greyhound bus station on Chester Avenue. That whenever I drive by there, I think about that 22-year-old girl sitting on the bus coming from the deep south, Mississippi, and going into Cleveland and not even knowing where I was going to stay. Judge Ann Aldridge, who was not a judge at that time, she was a professor at the law school, and she was very concerned that there were no African American students in the day school at Cleveland State. And so she convinced the dean to let her and two other students go to Mississippi and to Atlanta and to Alabama and Florida and interview students to see if they would be willing to come to Cleveland and participate in the Legal Careers Opportunities Program. And it was an opportunity for us to make a difference and to be in the school. And that was in 1972. And I'll never forget going to my mom and I said, I have this opportunity to go to Cleveland and I need a bus fare. And she said, it's nothing I can do to help you. I said, oh, don't worry about it. I didn't want to tell you, but I went to several of my professors at Tougaloo and asked them if they would donate to my success. I formed my own corporation. I didn't even know where I got that information. How did I learn about a corporation at Tougaloo College? Maybe it came up.
You
And
were
I said,
paying attention, that's for sure.
yeah, I formed my own corporation, and I had teachers who invested in it, and that's how I got here.
Tell me a little bit about your alma mater, because you did say you have vibrant memories of being very influenced by things you heard at Tougaloo. Tell us about that time.
So Tougaloo is a historically black college in Mississippi. And it was a small distance away from Jackson, but you needed a bus to be able to get there. And when I was in the Upward Bound program, which is a program designed to give students an opportunity, I would be the first in my family to go to college and to graduate and move forward. Tougaloo was amazing because it was a private school, and also it was my mentor, Grace Sweet's alma mater. And so as a result, I ended up going to the school that she went to and then graduating from Tougaloo and coming to Cleveland State. And it's just history has been so good to me. And I'm not quite sure if people understand that sometimes when you put that energy and force into motion, it tends to come true. And I'm not being mythical or making up fantasies about it. It's just I had this desire to be something, to do something, to be somebody. And I wanted to make a difference. And I wanted to be a lawyer.
You also mentioned that you having the courage and the persistence to really make a difference. How has that impacted your family and the community?
There were 11 kids in my family, and I was in the middle. And when I said I'm going to college, it didn't impact the older siblings because they were doing different things already. They were either had their own jobs or they were helping my mom raise us. But then when I said that, it opened up the door for all of my siblings to come forth. And they all either graduated. One graduated from Tougaloo College, and another one formed her own business. And it was just amazing what they did. I have a brother who is a film editor, and he went to California. And it's just the way I can see the impact of when you see somebody do something different, then you pattern yourself after that.
Good to be a role model. So So you definitely have an optimistic attitude. Is that true?
Is that true?
Uh,
Yes.
that
I
that's
am
what I
hope-
see when I hear you
I
talk.
am very hopeful. Even though I have some frustrations at times, it is my desire to to be positive and to hope that other people will do that too and not be negative all the time.
As we wrap today, tell us what you would want our viewers to know about how you feel about the future of our democracy. Is there anything you would like to let them know?
I would like to let them know that I am concerned, and there are a number of people who are. Because it's one thing to have a group become leaders and say that we can solve all your problems when they haven't. How we solve our problems is through the aid of the democracy that we have and the rule of law. That's how we solve our problems. And we really need all of the participation of the people in our country because this is the greatest democracy that has ever come forward. 250 years where everybody who has become a member of the government, even when they didn't like it, they never wanted to hurt the country or to take advantage of the country. And that is amazing to me.